Is that not working?
No, someone called me and it
Oh.
stopped the phone, but you're good. You can keep talking now.
Anyway, I was a port security was my rating. So I was, petty officer in port security. And basically that training was inspecting ships that were coming in and out of ports, inspecting warehouse, looking for contraband, military stuff that was being smuggled in or out of the country, things like that. But for a lot of Coast Guard gunners mates, bosun's mates, etc., enlisted that wanted to get involved in the war, the Navy was happy to have them because they had those skills that they needed. So, yeah, there were a lot of Coast Guard people that ended up in Vietnam.
Okay, this is a little risky question. I don't know if you'll know the answer. So, with people who were like in war, such as like possibly your friends, do you know like anyone who kind of might have self-medicated with like alcohol, or I think there might have been cannabis back then, or like was that kind
a
of
lot of it, yeah.
a big issue? Was that kind of an issue, or is it just kind of common and stuff?
Well, for the guys that I knew, well, first of all, the Air Force fighter pilot that was flying F-4 Phantoms over there, never. I mean, those guys had to be sharp as a tack. I mean, and they were. That was. But for a lot of the enlisted guys who were off in the jungle, and God knew if they were going to get their head blown off the next day or not. Yeah, they were. I think they were pretty much into pot and whatever else they could get their hands on, and it was pretty loose. Pretty loose.
Okay, I think this is my last question. Do you have any like good memories or possibly bad memories? Hopefully, good memories that can stand above like all others for your time in Coast Guard. Just one like very like you remember it kind of so clearly and stuff.
I have a lot of good memories. When we got finished with our first 3 months in boot camp, then normally you would go on a ship that was just nothing but new coasties. They would take you out for a cruise, and when I was there, my company, we were scheduled to go to Hawaii on a 2-week cruise. I mean, this was going to be fantastic. So it's the day we're going to go, and they're calling everybody out to head down to the Dexter, which was the Coast Guard ships that was going to Hawaii. And they called everybody, and then they called 10 other names, mine included. And they took us off to the side and said the Coast Guard cutter Gresham, which was a regular duty Coast Guard cutter, was short of 10 guys for their crew, and because they were going to be attached to the Navy for a period of time. And so we had been assigned to join that crew, and we're going, wait a minute, we're going, everybody's going to Hawaii and we're going on this thing. And the guy goes, it's your own fault. He says, you guys, so let's face it, you kind of worked hard and you got good grades and all that sort of stuff. So basically we just took the top 10 out of the company and you're going with the Navy, like it or not. So anyway, we were put on this other ship, the Gresham, and we grumbled and groaned, but it turned out to be a great experience. As we went down to San Diego, and then we joined a Navy task force for a Pacific Fleet exercise, otherwise known as War Games, out in the Pacific. And my particular job, I was the captain's aide. So no matter what we were, I mean, we did night exercises chasing submarines. During the day, we were firing deck guns, depth charges, anti-aircraft, the 40 millimeter anti-aircraft. You've seen those in the old wartime movies, the guys,
Probably not.
Yeah, maybe not. But whatever the case, that was my job. I was the captain's communication guy. So I walked around with the headphones on, and whether it was command and control for navigation or the deck gun, the gunner's mates, or whatever it was, it came through me, and then I would tell the captain, and we'd go back and forth. But one memory that I'll never forget this till the day I die. It was probably 2 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black out there, and we've been assigned to track down this submarine. And so we've got sonar, but it's not the most up-to-date sonar in the world, but we've got it, and they're tracking this guy, and then he disappears. And so we're out there, and the captain is mumbling and grumbling and whatnot, and then pretty soon I get a message from Fleet Command that we're out of the exercise, that we've been sunk, And so I just turned to the captain. I said, "Sir, I just got a message that we're out of the exercise, that we've been sunk." And he just explodes. Who the hell said that? Blah, blah, just all, and that's the mild part of it, I said, "Well, sir, it was, from Fleet Command saying that we were out of it." And he said, "Tell those son of a bitches we're in it." So I get back on the deal, and of course you tone it down a little bit and says, Skipper says we're not out of this exercise. We have not been sunk. There's no evidence of any submarines around it. And so there's kind of dead silence on the phone. And then finally this voice comes on, and it says, "This is so-and-so from Fleet Command. Please ask Captain Cunningham to step out on the wing on either side of the bridge." And the bridge is probably as wide or wider than this room is. And then we got this area that's probably extends about 10 feet out, kind of over the water, and it's big enough for about 8 or 10 people. So I tell him, "Sir, they've asked if you'd please step out on the wing." And so out we go. And as we get out there, the water around us just lights up, and it's bubbling like a Alka-Seltzer pill is down there. I mean, just bubbles coming up everywhere. Well, this nuclear sub that we were chasing had come up behind us in our wake, where our sonar couldn't pick him up, and he was right directly underneath us. So, needless to say, we were out of the operation. But it was funny, but you didn't dare laugh. You didn't dare laugh at all. But we had some good times. We had another time when we were we had these anti-aircraft weapons. They were shooting 40 millimeter shells. And a plane would fly up one side of the ship, and it had a huge big sleeve behind it, like 8 feet in diameter and about 30 feet long. And it was towed probably maybe 100 feet behind this plane. And so we're shooting at this sleeve. That's the idea, like you're shooting down an enemy aircraft. And we're doing a really good job of it. And then the plane swings around, and he comes back down the other side. And as he starts down the other side, we can see him. He's about a mile off. I get this deal from the gunner's mate saying, the power has gone out to the mount. We can't fire. No way. And the captain says to me, he says, "Tell him to fire manually." And I mean, these things are electrically controlled, so they can go up, left, right, and everything. But they also have these hand grinders where you can go up and down elevation or crosswise. And so I tell the guy to, that's what the captain wants me to do, or them to do, and he just, again, you can tell he's just really ticked off. But they do it. They're out there, and they're just kind of cranking along, and they're doing a pretty good job. But once those things start moving, you can't really stop them. So these shells are coming right through this sleeve, kind of shredding it, only they can't stop it. It goes right up the cable, and next thing you know, these shells are coming right at this airplane. I mean, they're no more than 20 feet behind it. The pilot sees what's happening, and he just, he takes off and does a quick roll, and he's gone over the horizon. Well, the next thing we see, here he is, and he's coming right at us. I mean, we're standing on the bridge, and he looks like he's heading right at us. He flies right in front of the bridge, over the top of the gun mount, no more than, 50 feet away from where we're standing, and he's flipping us a bird as he goes by. So anyway, the whole deal, the way that ends up, when we got back to San Diego, there was a big black car with the flag's Admiral. And so they were coming aboard to review everything that went on. And so they, about an hour or so into it, one of these Navy officers found several of us, including myself, and asked us, what happened with the targeting of that thing. And so we explained, or I explained anyway what happened, And so they took notes, and then they came back. They had it all written up and had you, sign it, the incident report. And I don't know if that was the total reason, but our captain lost his command because they, considered reckless endangerment is what we heard. So anyway, those are some of my memories. Yeah. Anyway, but other than that, as far as my duty went down there, it was good duty. When I wasn't on that ship, I was on a 40-foot patrol boat out in San Francisco Bay. I'd have 12 hours from 6 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning. And then I'd be off for 24 hours, and then I'd do 6 in the morning till 6 at night, and then off 24 hours and so on. It was good duty. Wasn't bad at all.
All right, that is it.
That's
Thank
a
you.
wrap?
Yeah, thank you for your time.